Which one, sir?
59, Surah 59, 16 and 17.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كمثل الشيطان إذ قال للإنسان اكفر فلما كفر قال إني بريء منك إني أخاف الله رب العالمين فكان عاقبتهما أنهما في النار خالدين فيها وذلك جزاء الظالمين صدق الله العظيم.
On the WhatsApp group, I posted a hadith, and that one says describes how shaitan gets to us. In that particular hadith, there was a righteous man, a priest in Riyadh Nasr time, and shaitan tried to cause Dhalala for him, and he was not being affected. So what he did, he possessed a woman, and then he inspired the three brothers, take them to the priest for curing. We do that all the time. There's nothing wrong, it seems, right? So that's how shaitan operates. It starts off with something that sounds very benign. It's not a problem. You always take to doctor or to imams, they do ruqya, right? So that's how it starts. Completely benign. But that triggered chain of actions. And you can read that. There's fornication, pregnancy, killing, all these things happen, snowballs. It started off with something that is benign, but ended up with the priest being in a state of last moment. He's being killed. Shaitan comes to him and said, look, I got you into this mess, so let me rescue you. So how do you do that? Do sujood to me. So he did, and then he died in his state of sujood. And sure enough, these two verses of Quran is discussing that. So what did Shaitan say at that time? Hey, it's your problem, man. I have nothing to do with you. But it's too late for him. The whole ummah today is in a state of sujood to Shaitan. They are not even looking in the right direction. They do not even look back, say, so what am I doing? They are first of all addicted to money. Second, even here, money for what? Sex and control. man more sex and woman more control. They all are all into this. There are a lot of people addicted just for money's sake. But they all start off very small. In Afghanistan, the number one addiction I found out is medicine. Number one, you spend a lot of money. Yesterday I saw a man walking with a bag of medicines, and with a child. What is that for? Number two addiction is energy drink. What is the number one addiction before? Opium, cocaine. They all got cleaned up, but Shaitan started something worse. Why is it worse? Because it's more subtle. It's hidden. Shaitan always loves when it's hidden. Hiding is what? Kufr. If a cocaine addict or an opium addict is there, right away you know there is a problem. But with medicine, with energy drink, you don't even know what is the problem. Nobody says you cannot come to prayer if you have taken medicine. It is absurd. But if a cocaine addict in a state of stoned, a state of addiction comes to you, says, right, what are you doing? Let him go to a rehab center. There is no rehab center for medicine. So, Shaitan finds slightest opening. So, what is Allah saying in 59:17? That they will both be cast in hell. Allah doesn't say who is going to get worse. Shaitan or this follower of Shaitan. We know from logic, from another verse in Surah Ankabut, we discussed that, 29:31, that whoever starts off with a bad thing and followers would get sin because they follow, but the guy who started off gets all of the sin altogether himself. So whoever authorized this nonsense, medicine for instance here, is going to carry all the burden without decreasing their individual burden. Whoever authorized, whoever stamped halal on the energy drink, he's going to be liable for everything, all the sinners. Plus, the sinners will pay their own price. They will be both cast in hell. So what does Shaitan do? It takes the slightest opening and then gets into the heart. First one was Dhalala, remember? Dhalala is a matter of alcohol. You made them dwalin. That's the first one. And this alcohol, Allah said in 8:22, if you do not use your akal, you're dumb deaf and the lowliest of creation. And that's the first attack. Shaitan promised he's very smart. And we'll see why he attacks akal. Where is the akal in? Akal starts with, you know that? It starts with iman. If you do not have iman, you have no akal. It doesn't matter how educated you are. It starts with the heart. It's very interesting, that came to me today. This is the physical picture. It's a real heart, right?
Yeah.
Did you notice that it has red and blue?
Yeah.
What is the blue? Impure one. What is red? Is the pure one, purified. This is a depiction of heart by Shaitan. He took only red. And it's not even, he had a symmetry. Did you realize? Is there any symmetry there? Allah's creation. Is there any symmetry? None. You cannot have two halves that are similar. He made it symmetrical. And then we were just one day off from Valentine's Day. I saw Valentine's balloon being sold in Kabul. Little kids, 6-7-year-old, they are selling Valentine's balloon. So Shaitan is recruiting. So going back, what happened to the blue? Nothing. It just purely made it symmetrical, homogeneous, only blue, only red, and named it heart, is love. Is that true? Is love in heart? Which is true. You see, when Shaitan speaks even the true statement, he's a liar. Indeed, heart has love. In every culture, heart is identified with love. But so is Shaitanic. Where does Shaitanism, where does the worship of lust or money, where does it start? When your heart does not turn, it turns the wrong way. And that is missing. So by depiction of this, you completely changed everything. Then he said, brother, what are you talking about? Heart is a matter of love. Allah said, I am love. So what is the problem? Problem is you did not follow the process. Even when Shaitan speaks a true statement, he's a liar. We forgot that. This is quite interesting because Aql is in heart. What else is in heart? Heart in Arabic is called qalb. Do you know what qalb means? The root meaning? We gave you the site for Arabic to Arabic translation. Qalb means to turn. Yanqalibun, meaning I'm turning towards. Qalb determines the direction. Right? So we are going towards certain direction, we say Yanqalibun. Isn't that true? Heart is the only organ that has the ability to turn back and forth. Nothing else does. Both physically, this is the beauty of Quran. When Allah says this is qalb, it's both physically and emotionally, spiritually. Both tangible and intangible. Allah's truth is true for both tangible and intangible, both physical, emotional. Heart indeed has the ability to turn, both physically, constantly, and emotionally, spiritually. Allah loves it when you turn towards Allah. Doesn't matter how much sin you have done. You know the hadith, where a Bedouin lost his camel that has all his life possessions, all his belongings are on the camel. Then the camel got lost. He cried so much that he fell asleep under a tree. Then the Bedouin wakes up and the camel is there. He lost his mind. He was so happy. He started to say to Allah that I am your Lord and you are my slave. He became crazy basically. Prophet Muhammad said, Allah feels that way. Allah is that much happy, literally, as the Bedouin when slaves turn towards him. There's another hadith, one of the Sahaba said, I would sin deliberately because every time I sin and turn to Allah, I'm in a better state, except for the fear that I might die in that state. So don't do that deliberately, but remember, Allah loves to forgive. And we showed with the disease curve that if you have a disease and you naturally cure, you are at better stage of health. Same with sin. If you sin something and repent to Allah, you are at a better stage than before sinning. Aql is based on niyyah, and niyyah determines the long term. And where is the niyyah housed? It's in heart. In Chinese medicine, which ancient cultures are all inspired by Islam, it says heart is the monarch organ. It is the king. And we know that we own only our niyyah. We do not own anything else. We have no ability to control anything other than niyyah. And the niyyah happens to be in heart. And the heart has the ability to turn. So we have the ability to surrender to Allah. And that's the only place Shaitan attacks. Aql rooted in niyyah, and he challenges Aql first. And why is it the case? Because Shaitan knows everything else is a function of qadr. He cannot do anything about that. We know that Shaitan cannot affect our work. He has no ability to change our work. He can only whisper. Our fate is sealed with qadr. And Shaitan knows that very well. So what does he affect? Our niyyah. That's the one. Always whispers.
Sir, how can we define aql? Because
Yes.
if it's about consciousness,
Yes.
so there are people who who does not have
No.
iman and is in a dhalala.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's not conscious. Conscious is being awake. Right? It's
Yeah.
conscience.
We can say instead of consciousness, we can say intelligence.
No. Intelligence has nothing to do. Conscience is based on conscience. That's the one I use. Conscience is logic. That's aql. Logic itself into intelligence. If logic is false or true, you still call that intelligent. See, English words are very shaitanic. It takes away. There is no distinction between a bad intelligent Hitler and prophet. They are both very quick, they are both intelligent, but they are both charismatic. Right? Hitler was very intelligent. Only mistake he made is invade Soviet Union. But was that intelligent? He was zero. So same way, if it is not based on conscience, conscience is based on iman. Then you have nothing. Conscious, on the other hand, you are awake. You are aware. That one does not have any root. As I said before, Arabic, every word has a root. And if you look back on aql, the classic Arabic to Arabic dictionary, you'll find this.
But there are some people, sir, who are against this hypocrisy of waste and all the fitness they
Yes.
are planning.
Yes.
For example, if I can give you example of non-Chomsky. So
Yes.
can we call it aql?
No, it's not at all. He's intelligent. It's very simple. If you do not have iman, you have no aql is founded. It's iman. You know the word aql, what it means? tighten. Logic that starts with Iman, that's the one who at the end you tighten it. It becomes very tight. So tight that it doesn't wobble. That's Akal. A person with Akal doesn't hesitate. He's not say, he would never say, oh, I'm not sure, 30%, 40. No, Akal is the final decision, is tight.
But there are lots of people, there might be some people more intelligent than Noam Chomsky, okay, but they are not doing the job he was doing. He is against America and Israel and all. I mean, the efforts he makes is based on what? If it's not based on Akal, based on what?
You see, this is how we have to understand. He is more munafiq than Donald Trump, for instance.
He only talks and don't do anything.
You see? So he knows. That's why we call in political language soft Zionist or worse. When soft Zionists, they say, oh, I'm against killing. This is terrible. Israel is a terrorist state. Yeah? They are the munafiq of the, among kuffars, they are the munafiq type, more hidden type. If that is the case, right, if you really understand why you're not Muslim, what happened? Deep inside, they love the attention. Even Muslims worship him. They love the attention. But inside, they are the worst type. Every time you find, everywhere, they are all hypocrites. Meaning, they do not mean what they say. Shaitan is the biggest hypocrite, right? They are all liars, but among them, the worst liars, worst hypocrites are saying that I am bleeding heart, I'm all for you, right? Unfortunately, that's called liberalism. Liberals are more hypocritical. Conservative, Trump, whatever he says, you can hear him. These guys are hidden. They are more shaitan.
So that was a point I wanted to find, that there's statements, even there's good statements that they make or based on hypocrisy.
Exactly. You remember Professor Hadith, that even when they say something correct, Israel is a terrorist system, it's correct, they are still liar. And it's worse lie because he get confused. Even Abu Hurairah got confused. He said, why did he teach me this dua, which is correct? So they confuse Muslims more, and they are more dangerous. So, yes, question?
So sorry, between mind and heart, which one is the
Mind is nothing.
akal?
It's not in mind. Akal, there's hadith, the akal is in heart.
Yeah, but, this is another question.
Yeah.
Between mind and heart, which one causes that encourage us to do something?
Is the heart. You know why? Heart has intention. We can only control our niyyah.
But there is some speech that if we don't process the good sides of something and the bad sides of something, we will not progress in one process, and that is the mind that process that those bad sides, bad effects and good effects.
It's right there.
Yeah.
What is bad?
I didn't mention any kind of these things.
No, what I'm saying, what is bad?
He says that's the everything we will do.
Definition of mad, what is it?
If someone drives a car so fast, yeah, the mind says to him that you should not drive fast because you will be
It's not his mind that says, but that's beside the point. I'm asking you, what is good and what is bad?
The bad is accident, the good is safety from accident.
Is that the definition of good and bad in Islam?
In driving of car, just
No, it's,
Like,
You see-
what is the difference between a brain or making decision? or
brain
take the
is
decision?
the processor.
Like,
It's the processor. It
Yeah.
doesn't
accept
originate
the brain
anything.
or the heart? Which one?
Brain is only a processor.
Yeah.
It has no function. You have no ability to control brain.
the heart makes
Heart is the
decision.
one. Decide on what? Is it for pleasing Allah or it's not? It's the action. Is it for pleasing Allah or it's not?
Like heart wants to everything, so we processing on our brain.
It's saying we have no control. It's automatic, right? It's like the physical function of our heart. Can you control it? Can you control a dream? It's part of qadr.
Yes.
The only thing we can control is our heart. 2 days ago, there was a suicide attack. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
You heard that, right? So think about that. Very simple thing. Suicide guy, the guy who's doing that, what is he thinking? Is it good for him or bad for him? So coming back to the good and bad definition.
Yeah.
You talked about accident being bad. He's causing the biggest accident you can have in your life
Yeah.
deliberately. So his definition of good is something else.
Everything.
Not matches with ours. It doesn't match with ours. Do you see the point? He decided with his logic that it's important to kill that person, and to be able to kill that person, I have to kill myself. Even though it's haram to kill myself. It directly contradicts Quran. So how did the logic work? Can you think about it? What is he thinking? This is the assumption I always ask for. He assumed he can kill the person. Is it in his hand? Is it logical? There's no logic. If he knew with any iman, he would know it's part of qadr. I have no ability to kill anybody. And he didn't. He only killed himself. Deputy minister was unharmed. He killed 2 other bodyguards and things like that. But he committed a major sin, and he had no time to be forgiven, thinking that it's in his hand to kill somebody. Even if he thought, even if he was correct, that this is the most outrageous guy. It could be Hitler. But you killed yourself with the assumption that it's in your hand to kill somebody. That's why it's so important to ask for the assumptions. Would he be saved in the hereafter? That Allah, my intention was good? Is that enough? No. In Surah Mulk 67:10, Allah tells us they will regret not using aql or listening. So if you listen, you are not supposed to kill yourself. But if you use aql, then you are not supposed to kill anybody. It's not in your hand.
But doctor, there were many Sahabas who went in a battle and jumped into such situation where they knew that they would get killed.
That's different. See,
mean,
he is being killed, but you're killing yourself. He detonated the bomb first. You see the difference? I'm not saying that you be a coward, right? You do the right thing. Your right thing is to fight them. That's order from Allah.
But there's also the story of the Sahabi who was put into a catapult. He said, "Put me in the catapult so I can be thrown into the fort."
Yes.
It
No,
was-
that
it
doesn't
was-
mean you are going to be killed.
I mean, what else?
No, it's not true. You cannot assume that. Being thrown into the catapult, with the catapult, and you jump in there, it doesn't mean you are being blown up.
Yeah.
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, that's a technique that we should adopt today.
Yeah. Right away you are starting combat there.
That's right. So, You have to think logically everything. And that logic, Allah takes charge when your intention is good. Allah will guide you. Yes.
So in person, I think when somebody fight, he know that I kill in this fight.
No, he
What's the
doesn't know.
difference between
No,
two
he
things?
doesn't. He doesn't know. Who knows? Does anybody know?
No,
No, it's
but the
not.
situation is very bad. I
No, it
think.
doesn't matter. You have seen most outrageous. You have seen angels rescuing people. It's not in your hand. What you should think that my death is not in any enemy's hand. It's in Allah's hand, and I will die exactly when Allah put it there.
It what?
You have no fear.
Intentions.
But if you think you take that in your hand, you are the biggest coward. So this is simple logic, yet nobody got it. How many Palestinians blew themselves? How many? And they are taking pictures. They are putting on website before going to blow themselves up. It's not very difficult to figure out. So literally, Shaitan wants us to die in a state of sujood to him. Sins, every sin, and sin by definition is anything we do without the intention of pleasing Allah. Anything. It's not very difficult. People come up with all kind of definition. If it is not punishable, it's not a sin. Brother, there's a small sin, big sin. Forget everything. Bifurcation point is to please Allah or not to please somebody else, including your ego. Every sin, that's the scientific definition of sin. Anything you do with the intention of not pleasing Allah but anybody else is a sin. Every sin, Prophet said that, puts a dot. Even small, big, doesn't matter. Puts a dot. With lot of dots, the heart becomes rigid. That's the word he used. It becomes rigid. What does rigidity mean? It cannot turn to Allah anymore. Even small sins, lot of them. How many small sins we make every day? Can you count?
No.
Yeah.
We cannot even count. There's so many. And that's why he realized that. Prophet Muhammad, he said hadith, he used to say astaghfirullah like 70 times. 70 in Arabic means many times. Even in on setting. He's saying word, he's saying astaghfirullah. In his lecture, in on sitting, he would say 70 times astaghfirullah. In the West, there is a perception that you say astaghfirullah only when you have sinned. It's not. Their definition of sin is different. I do not want to say anything other than pleasing Allah. So you always return. That maybe I'm feeling good. Maybe I'm doing it for myself. Boom, you come back, you come back, you come back every time. Only then it has become very logical. Every step you take, and that's what you mean by Bismillah, that my intention is really confirmed now. Before eating, even sleeping with your wife. Why do you have to say Bismillah? Because everything is to please Him. Then every act we do to please Him becomes ibadah. And that is purpose of our creation, to ibadah Him, right? So, sins affect emotionally, also physically. Emotionally from hadith, the heart cannot turn anymore. Physically, from Chinese medicine and inductive logic. Chinese medicine is very clear on that. They actually say physical illness, all of them is because of sin.
Chinese says
Yes, ancient Chinese. Because the Yellow Emperor was most likely a prophet 3,000 years ago. 3 to 5,000. So now he said, well, that's not logical, brother. How can sin make me sick? Classic example, drinking. Classic example, smoking. Classic example, any addiction. They all make you physically sick. That we know is very easy. How about overeating? Is it a sin or not? Wasting, is it a sin or not?
Yes.
Will not that make you physically sick? Of course it will. And that's why it's no surprise that medicine is the number one addiction in this country. What does it imply? Every sin has been transformed into physical sickness. There is no society that is physically sick and is not emotionally sick. Prophet's society was the most healthy, both physically and emotionally. The Khulafa Rashidin is Prophet's time, most healthy, both physically, emotionally, economically. That's the definition of health. Because they are not wasting anything. One point that is brought up by my son in this lecture is a very important point. It's forbidden to surveil, it's forbidden to spy on people. Right? It's in Quran 49, 9, 12. Hujurat 49, 9 to 12. It's forbidden. Allah said don't do it.
9 to
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Yes. 49. So don't do it. There's a hadith when Omar was walking at night with his companions, and they came across a party where they're drinking alcohol. Right? So Omar said, what are we supposed to do now? His companion said, we have committed a sin by spying on them. Did the broad in and say, hey, no party, what did everybody gets 100 lashes? They knew what the order of Allah is. They knew the sequence. You cannot spy on people, that's first. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you spy on people and catch somebody with adultery and jump in with 4 people, you are the one going to jail. You are the one getting punished. It's not your role. Just like the suicide bomber, it's not in your hand. Your job is to obey Allah. Your job is not policing people. Islam is very curious because in Caliphate, you cannot spy on people. Who can you spy on? Do you know? On the governors. Omar barged in. He said, you are eating white bread. Where do you get your money? Governors were scared. Any judge, very scared. Because they are in a position of responsibility. This is completely different in the West and in the modern society. You spy on people, if you are in a position of power, nothing can happen to you. Completely reversed. It's upside down. So there indeed, this world today, this is Khilafah. Today, it is this way. This is the knowledge model. This side on this one. Remember? Quran, Hadith,
Intention.
Ijtihad. Decision. Here he decided first, I'm going to spy. So everything is upside down. In everything. And what I want you to find out, how that has affected our technology. Because it has. Today we know addictions of any kind, including porn addiction. Is porn addiction a physical thing? Are you consuming something physically? No. It's completely emotional. Gambling addiction. You gamble. Is that a physical thing? No. But they both affect heart. Every addiction affects your heart. It's physical. That's why if you have addiction, the most important point to hijama is behind your heart. Did you know that? Most important point to hijama, place the cup of hijama, is the heart, behind the heart, if you have addiction, any addiction. That's how we have to see it. Physical, emotional, everything has to be same logic. And that's real science. Tell that to some doctor, he said, this is crazy. He has addiction and you're asking him to make dua? What is this? They cannot explain anything. In Chinese medicine, it's recognized that the intention of the practitioner, if I'm the doctor, my intention will affect the treatment. Can you imagine? Have you ever considered that if your doctor's intention is to make money, it will affect the treatment? In new science, it's absurd. What are you talking about? But in Chinese medicine, it's actually stated. That's why it's stated, if the doctor is in bad position, he's angry, or he's going through a rough time, or if he's weak, you should not treat. You should not go to the doctor. The doctor says, today I cannot treat you because I'm not in good mood. Has it ever happened with any doctor today? It's absurd. Sure enough, addiction, the word addiction does not exist in Arabic and in Quran. You know why? Because it's self-explanatory. Addiction is exactly same as lust for shaitan. That's addiction. Anything was you are listen to shaitan, you are addicted to shaitan. It's not a disease, it's a sin. It's a combination of sin. So it starts with heart. First time he took a medicine, first time he took watched a porno, first time he took a drug, that's the start. It starts with the heart. So why did you take the drug? Was it your intention to please Allah? It's very obvious. Why did you watch porno? Was it your intention to please Allah? It's very simple. That's how I got into it. It starts with heart, intangible. Everything starts to be intangible. We discussed that, right? Root of everything is intangible. And sure enough, in the plant root, you see an underground, right? You cannot see it. So this is the tangible. So addiction starts with the root. This is manifesting physically affected. The man is drunk or stoned. That you can see. Or sick in bed. That's tangible. But root, that's in near. That's how it starts. Last organ to fail is what? Heart. It's the monarch organ. When the monarch, the king, that's us. That's the Khalifa. Khalifa is in heart. And Khalifa is the last one to give up. And that's why it's so important to protect that. When it starts, said, no, this Khalifa is being attacked. The headquarters is being attacked. But it's intangible. It's in the root. It's underground. So we have to stop right there with the intention. First time. So what it does, it starts with heart, intangible, and goes down and down and down. Like the hadith, the priest, fornication, then pregnancy, then child, then kill both, and then at the end, sujud. This is the sujud state. The final stage is the sujud. That's how Shaitan wants. It started with honey. That's Quran. And that's gold. We use that same analogy for our economics book. Keep this in mind. Honey, Quran, gold. Honey is the standard for material. Gold is the standard for economics. Quran is the standard for heart. It's the thinking. Alcohol starts with Quran. First thing, Quran first, then Hadith. That's the standard that Allah gave us, and Allah told us that we're suitable for that. That's our beautiful trait. Which story is called the most beautiful story in Quran? Anybody knows? The most beautiful story.
Story of Yusuf.
Yes. If you look at the life of Prophet Yusuf, does it look beautiful? So much trouble. So with Allah's definition, that's the most beautiful story. With Shaitan's definition, that's the worst story.